Well, Keith, we talked on the Sunday show about whether Axel Concepcion was going to give us another price on Sunday, and he did in the last. It was a $24.20 winner with Salagadula for Samaniego. And that was just I love that price there, 11-1 shot, and then Forrest Boyce opening up Sunday's card with a double.
How about that?
A double that paid very nicely, $30 on the first one and $12 on the second one. Mungo Magic, Bella Bettina for Wilson and Sam Davis, and of course, welcome to today at the races. And now it's a new week. Let's see if we can get some new prices going on.
We're going to try. I mean, Salagadula was our value play of the day, so hopefully you're on board with that one.
Yep.
Right up the rail with the Concepcion and had the early pick 4, so we're kind of moving right along. Derby week, right? Just a few days out, and we've got a beautiful afternoon. Things warming up a little bit here now in the mid-Atlantic, up to 56 degrees, and it's a trend is we're just going to get warmer and warmer, which we're going to like. Turf course, we're back. Look at that. Turf course is green, and look what we've got in store for you out in the infield.
A couple weeks after Easter, we've got some hatchlings out there in the infield, some geese, some goslings. There we go. Some goslings out there. Oh, how many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, they keep moving around. I can't keep count of them. But how cute are they? All kinds of wildlife here at Laurel Park. We had the eagle last Sunday, and now we have the goslings today. So hopefully they'll stay. Hopefully they'll stay right in that little center part of the infield, since we have some turf racing going on. So best of luck to them staying inside within bounds. And let's go ahead and talk about the races that are to come. Starting off in race number 1, of course, that kicks off the early pick 5 in this maiden, claiming 20,000, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. Keith, you have the number 2 on top, but we also wanted to quickly mention that we do have that future Preakness wager coming in. So something that we just wanted to highlight. Go ahead. Closing at 6 p.m. right before the Derby, you are going to put your wager on who you think is going to be winning the Preakness.
Yeah.
But the entries haven't even come yet, so that makes it even more exciting. That is a pretty nice pool going on with it right now, and we will cover that a little bit more at the end of the show. But let's go ahead. Let's get back to that first race. Again, that maiden claiming 20, going 7 furlongs on the dirt for the straight 3-year-olds. Keith, you have the number 2 on top, but let's go ahead and take a look at a video that you have on the number 4, Alligator Arms, currently 5-1 right now for TJ Aguirre, Bryson Butterfly. This was their last out effort on the 16th of April.
This is good. Much improved, shortened up. Try to go long. 2 turns first time out. That wasn't it. A drop down to 12.5 and some improved speed and racing ability, as we like to say. Really battled on well between horses and keeps on going to the wire. Best Choice Baby's going to widen, but you see my short comment. Gamely to the end. This horse holds well through pretty good internal fractions, 23, 46, and 3. Now a little bump up that protect move back to 20. So the connections like what they saw. This is a horse not in my top 4, but will be a horse I will use in the exactas because I'm going to kind of key around some prices in here. I think, just kind of basically looking at the entire card today, Callie.
Right.
Racing Office did a great job. We've got big fields. I think we're going to have some good prices rolling here on this afternoon's racing card. So I kind of key around the 2. Bar Down Express. Yeah, 8-1 on the morning line. It really tough to gauge this one because it was bet down in debut into a 4-5 shot at Gulfstream going back to September of 22. But going to make the 3-year-old debut today. But this is owner-trainer combo right now. Designated hitters and Sanchez Salomon. Rolling right along the last couple months. 4 for 16, 25%, 9 for 16 in the money, and ROI of over $5. Whopping. That's really good. That winner of that race at Gulfstream on the go back is now a 3-time winner. This horse is a sib to 5 other multiple winners. So I tell you, the freshening, I think, is going to do this one some good. Regroup, ready to go. I know Concepcion was kind of named on 2 horses ago as General JR, but as a price shot and the way this owner-trainer combo is going, I'm going to take a little shot in here. Run for Your Life, going to take plenty of play. Quick drop, though, a $300,000 purchase. Maiden special weight, going long first out, really nothing. That's it. We're going to go for 20. First time gelding. Showed a little bit of late life last time. We'll see if this drop picks the head up of Run for Your Life.
Absolutely, I agree with that. A nice work on March 19th. Before that, it's the work on March 19th from coming from the gate that kind of intrigues me now, cutting back in distance with Run for Your Life, especially with that outside post there. But Keith Fustel goes 2-10, 3-5 there in that first leg of the early pick 5. Now let's go to the first leg of the early pick 4.
Okay.
Keith, As per usual, how does your ticket look today?
Oh, this thing could have gone gangbusters. 27 we limited to, but it was flirting up in that $96 range for a while. 3 deep in the first 3 races, 5, 8, 10 in race number 2. Race 3 with the 1, 4, and 11. A little price shot there on Italian War Cry. We'll talk about that one. Some turf underneath. Race 4 with the 3, 10, 11. Wrap it up in race 5 with the 7 and 11. We've got a video spotlight of that race on April the 14th. Box and Ben. And admit nothing. $27, man. Add if you can. I tell you, follow along with kind of our other picks and see where we go. And if you can afford it, throw them in there because it's that kind of ticket.
Absolutely, and we kicked things away in that claiming 10,000 for the 3-year-olds and up, which have never won it too. Going 7 furlongs on the dirt makes things a little bit interesting. Keith, you land on the number 5, Miss You Ajax.
Yeah.
For Kieran McGee gets Axel Concepcion, a nice price of morning line 6-1. And for me, looking at this one, just a matter of the right moves and placement as far as class. They tried experimenting. We get back down to reality today.
Yeah, I tell you, this is a real head scratcher of a race. 6-1 morning line, could be lower, could be a little bit higher.
Sure.
Honestly, there was a couple races today I
agree.
had no clue, and the trend continues through the weekend. So Miss You Ajax, Kieran he's just doing phenomenal right now on a tear. You've got Concepcion on a roll as well. Comes out of a triple key race where those top 2 finishers came back to run gaudy numbers. That's enough. There's some speed in here, some questionable speed at 7/8. Source 1 at 7/8. Prior, I think, sits mid-pack and is able to kind of make a run into it, hopefully go by. Notion to Tap, it's another one that's going to need that setup.
Absolutely, especially with Notion to Tap it. It's just never enough going these shorter distances. So I think just asking for that 7 furlong distance was a vet scratch the last time this one was entered at the 7 furlong distance on the 20th of January. Had a little bit of a break, then came back. Showed that this one again needs a little bit more of distance. The 1-turn mile, I don't have much of an excuse for, other than the fact that this is a $10,000, $8,000 horse. If anything happens, sometimes they just go ahead and throw in the towel. So there you have it. About the number 10, No Time Like Present.
Yes.
First time against winners, but first time hasn't lost against winners.
A couple good tries. I thought that horse, rode the wave of the racetrack on the 19th of March, kept on. Then a little bit more speed than what I thought. There were some other speed types I didn't think he was going to be able to shake clear last time, but he did. Barbosa, he likes to be aggressive, was able to do it. I think he can win this on or just off the pace.
Right.
He's a factor for a barn, again, that's hitting at a pretty strong clip right now in Tony Ferrier.
Second leg of that early pick 4 is race number 3. This maiden claiming 45,000, a mile and 16th on the turf for the 3, 4, and 5-year-old girls. This also opens up the Rainbow Pick 6, and my ticket also could have kind of gone that way, Keith.
That's cheap,
considering
today's card.
Yes, I could have gone a little bit wider. So 4, 8, 11 here, a big scratch for me in the number 5 in race number 3. Race number 4, I go 4 deep because, in my opinion, the race fell apart a little bit with some of the scratches that we'll touch into. So 1, 3, 4, 11, race number 5, I go with the 4 and the 7. Of course, you can't leave out. I almost singled out Box and Ben, but we'll get into it just with the bad luck. You also have to include the number 11, the number 4. Sorry, I include the number 4, a previous Cal Lynch horse, now in the barn of Mark Salvaggio. Race number 5, I take a stab at a single with She Is Whiskey for Brittany Russell, returning back to the second time on the turf today. Dam Sire Indigo Shiner, 19% was second time on the turf, and 1, 3, 4, and a double down in that last race. Now let's go ahead and talk about what opens up that Rainbow Pick 6 in that maiden claiming 45, going a mile and 16th on the turf for the 3, 4, and 5-year-old girls. Keith, you land on the rail horse, an Italian War Cry for Kenny Cox gets Javian Toledo. Took it to the lead last time out and maybe just wasn't quite enough going that 7 furlongs. First time really leading things.
Yeah, a little willing late. Came back and got past the tiring rival, but out to 7/8, third off of a break. It was the bottom side. Top side, Irish War Cry. There's very limited sample there for the turf horses, but you go back on his breeding, there is the family on that bottom side. So I think this one's going to be okay. You look at her family, the mare, $200,000 earner on the turf, topped of an 83. I just think there's not a lot of true speed in here. Gets positioned, may not need it. A couple horses might just get anxious and go. I think just on breeding bottom side. I'm going to take a shot here at a price. I do think if holding on to my head, the horse to beat is going to be your top selection. The 4 Haint Blue for Hammy Smith, who had a definite excuse in turf debut at Colonial, but has come back with a couple good tries on the dirt.
And that's what it is. As long as this one is coming out of the gates in those last 2 tries returning back into 2023, makes me hopeful that we'll get to see what this one originally was intended for, which is first time on the turf down there. You also include the number 11.
Yeah.
Bring the Magic. Tim Woolley, Charlie Marquez. Charlie Marquez, Tim Woolley, 2 for 3 in second. In their just kind of overlapping from their last turf season coming into 2023 turf season.
Yeah, I mean, unreliable Tim Woolley. He shows up during turf season, doesn't he? His horses usually run well. They're knocking on the door. They usually can kind of handle a distance of ground. Yeah, 1 try on the turf in debut at 61 in a state bred race up in New York.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't run terrible. But this is going to be first time Lasix, first time blinkers on the turf. A good try back in February, a little middle move against some key horses.
Yep.
I think this one's going to be just fine. Good Magic right now, 17% with the turf runners. This one I think will definitely make a run into it from off the pace.
Agreed.
1, 4, 11, 6.
There we have it. So 1, 4, 11, 6 there in the opening of the Rainbow Pick 6 race number 4. There's no opening in new pools, but it's an interesting enough claiming 8,000, going 7 furlongs on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratch in the 1 Brilliant Chase, scratch in the 6 Wild Behavior, and scratch in the 5 for Love of Country. But 2 big scratches there in the 1 and the 6. Keith, you land on the number 11 on the outside. Ghost Lighter. This one is still in the barn of Billy Campbell. Gets Horacio Caramanos. And the big drop down is the big attraction here for this one.
It is. Turn back. This horse has run okay, going along to short. The 1 turn to 7/8, I think, is going to go ahead and work. Really too tough of a trip last time. You look at that draw, 10 posts at a mile and 16, caught 4 wide around the first turn. Wasn't going to make that ground up against that kind of group. But you know what? I was hoping a little bit more speed stayed in. Some of it came out, which might hamper the chances, but really good run, 2 back. I think this horse has a loop and swoop kind of run in him today to be a factor. Might not just get up. Might have to run down Honor the Fleet, who I think will sit just off the speed of Pepe and Haywood, who's going to go ahead and set sail from the outside. Honor the Fleet needs to break. He's even broken last time out. If you watch the rerun again, it wasn't a super sharp break. Went up just a little bit and then hustled. He's done that now the last couple times. He needs to break cleanly to get that stalk and pounce kind of trip. First time for David Howard, but we know David Howard's kind of filled in for Kieran McGee in the past.
Sure.
So I think they know each other's trainers' trends a little bit. They know the horse. So Honor the Fleet, that's like a step sideways for me when we're looking to get the barn change.
There we go. And for fun, you also include Pepe and Haywood underneath the number 10 and 1A Northern Thunder, who stays on there within that field. And we will be right back to talk about the rest of the field here on Thursday's racing right after this break.
It's showtime. Guess who's back again? Don't believe me, just watch. Hey, oh! Guess who makes me feel right? I've been locked out of hell. I'ma leave the door open. That's right. We out here tripping and finesse. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
And we're back here for the rest of Thursday's card, starting back in action with race number 5, a maiden claiming 45, going 5.5 on the dirt for the 3-year-olds. Let's go ahead and take a look at that last time effort out with Box and Ben and the number 11. In this race, Admit Nothing. Box and Ben for Cahill Lynch. Number 11, Admit Nothing for Carlos Mancia. But take a look at that gate on the inside.
Yeah, Admit Nothing, just off a little bit slow. And this one was a little bit of a bad actor coming out of the paddock. I remember you see the comment, fractious, caught that early, got himself behaved a little bit, but that slow start definitely did hamper him. Box and Ben, he's never run a bad race. This is his second time off of a break this particular afternoon on the 14th, and took the rating. He hung out 4 deep, but you're watching the jock, still really kind of motionless. Waiting, and goes ahead and makes the move into the pace. It was a pretty good flow, 22 and 246 flat. The firster is going to benefit, right? Contempt on the far outside of Hillwood's right stable stilts for trainer Graham Motion.
Yes.
But Box and Ben, he showed that ability to kind of sit just off of it, moves a little further, and today I think he's going to be tough on or near the lead. But Admit Nothing had a little bit of late life. There it is, down along the rail after that slow start. Galloped out well. I'll take a value shot there. Let's try to flip them here. 11, 7, 1, 12. A lot of eyes going to be on the 1. Run, Bucky, run. You know why?
Why?
Right.
I do know why. Have to Luna Bell.
There you go.
Yes.
So looking forward to that. You know, the career that she had. Hopefully she's kind of on the comeback and everything. But 4 winning siblings, a great family there. Even the posers, and there's some other runners. Rail at 5.5. Gonna have to be tied on.
Right, and that's where my concern lies, is because I'm even seeing these 3 furlong. I'm taking a look at that 3 furlong gate work on April 19th. Those are when Hammy does that, they're especially to really get the action going and the forward thinking process.
Okay.
That's a 38 second work. To me, I wanted to see something quicker.
A little quicker. Yeah.
I wanted to see a little bit quicker getting out of this out of this rail post position for this one. So that's where I'm not sure this one could be the quickest out of the gate. But I agree, needs to get the job done. J. Ron Barbosa, as a rider, perfectly capable of doing that. The gelding just needs to be able to do that. But Hammy Smith with first-time starters as of late, 3 for 6 in second. In 1/3 after that. So 4 for 6 in the money. So you can count this one in to make a showing of it, but the gate's going to be a really big telltale within this first 16th of a mile in this race today.
Yeah, definite class in this family. We'll see if the talent really shows first time out, but definitely one to keep a close eye on. And he had a horse take a lot of money late last week, a horse that I liked. So just kind of tab the toad and see what kind of action shows up on the one. Run, Bucky, run. Great heavens outside. Tim Keefe, not known with the firsters, right, to win too often. But great notion, draws outside. Pretty quick family. And the Sibs are versatile, so works are forward here, out in the fresh air, clear and wide. And Sheldon Russell still named, right?
Yes.
Okay. Look at that percentage. It's like 25%.
25% as of lately. On the dirt, 14%. Last 7 starts, 1 win, 3 seconds, 1/3. While you say the works are forward, which they are, I just don't think it's enough. I want to see a bit more heft, a little bit more bottom in that conditioning. So I had this one on and off of my ticket, but I think is just going to need a race or two for us to really see all of that breeding behind him show to strength.
Yep, another one you're looking at, the 3, Calming Storm, not in our selections for Robbie Bales. Another one, okay with the first of it. Good family. We saw Jazzy Ideal on the bottom side, so you got Ken, the Awesome Jazz. So there's definitely some ways to go here. Obviously, Box and Ben is going to take a slew of action, but I don't be scared to kind of reach out, and grab for a couple prices. I like Admit Nothing. That's going to take my shot there at a square price.
I grab Runaholic underneath. This one used to be in the barn of Cal Lynch for a hot minute until Mark Salvaggio claimed this one. Comes back. Mark has some decent success in Maryland in general, 15% as of lately, and lost out to Healing Waters, who back in Indiana lost out to Healing Waters, who won the Circle City Stakes last year, not long after that win. So plenty of talent to offer in a nice, sizable, bettable field there in race number 5. Race number 6, of course, starts and is our jackpot super high 5. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that pool is right now. 35,716. And of course, remember, Keith, we've got some mandatory payouts coming out this week on Sunday. So get in on this pool as quick as you can. And of course, as I mentioned, mandatory payouts all the way on Sunday with all of these pools. The jackpot super high 5, not an exemption to that as well. And race number 6, of course, is a 1.16 on a turf. This restricted allowance for the girls 3 years old and up. You go with the number 3, Flimsy, who I have underneath for Ferris Allen, gets Horacio Caramanos, has been in fitness throughout this winter, so not coming first off of a layoff situation. So for me, I thought for the price, especially depending on what Flimsy comes up at, I think could potentially be a good value. But turf season went well. First win was on a turf, so why not?
Yeah. Looking at the race, it's, there's just no proven foot. So your 2 favorites that are going to take the majority of play, Downtown Katie and She Is Whiskey. She Is Whiskey could be the favorite. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Correct.
Those 2 are going to be close, and you scratch a 5-2 Proper Storm, maybe in that 9-5, 2-1 range when it's all said and done. Neither of them have shown anything on the turf, of early foot. They've got reliable runs. Downtown Katie certainly does. She Is Whiskey's only been on the turf 1 time, and that was in a stake against some pretty good horses. So now first time for the barn, showing a little more tactical speed. I think She Is Whiskey has a little jump on the 10 Downtown Katy. But they're tough to split. Flimsy can go to the front. This is going to be first-time blinkers on the turf, as you talked about it. It's kept the fitness up. Let's see this one get to the front. Caramano's nurse and hopefully release from the other closers.
There we go. I like that approach to it. The only tick I have against Downtown Katy is I just look at that first effort off of the big layoff, off of that winter/spring layoff at Delaware. To me, I immediately see I didn't see much of an excuse in that race when I watched it, so I just take this one as maybe just needs a race to get back into the swing of things.
Possibly. And you got the sneaky little price shot in there, 15-1 morning line, which will come down. It's the 8 Synergies Electra.
Yes.
Never tried the turf. Wanted turf in debut. It's got run a little bit later of late for Bonicelli Racing and Kenny Cox. It's the bottom side, not the top side on the breeding, made from Lucky. But Smooth Talking was 2 for 2 on the turf and a couple turf-winning siblings. So if you're looking for another double-digit kind of horse, you may have to look at Synergies Electric, because I think she's got a little shot in here at a big price.
With that half, Look Who's Talking showed mile success routing and sprinting on turf, so I'm like, worth a try. She also has just looking at the filly, I remember seeing her and noticing that she's a bit lanky, she's a bit of that turfy type, she has a decent foot on her, and that's just from her as an individual taking a look at her. But then on top of that, the dam's only 2 wins were on the turf, despite the fact that it was a front-running sprinter situation. But intriguing underneath for Synergy Electra. But race number 7, feature race of the day. This allowance optional claiming $55,000, going 5.5 on the dirt. Keith, let's go ahead and take a look at your top selection now in the barn of Mikey Gorham, going to the lead with Victor Carrasco on top. And we're going to take a look back on April 7th, that last time out.
Yeah, you see tucked up inside behind a trio of rivals and has to kind of ease back just a little bit. Had that speed, took back, and ends up about 6 wide when it's all said and done. But going to lead, I tell you what, he's definitely tactical. He's a horse that I think can be a major player in here. Can be close enough. Baracho and Chateau, they're very, very fast. Will the field get away? I'm not so sure. But I do think this horse is going to sit a trip inside and go ahead and swing out wide here, make the run. If he can avoid that traffic early, he's definitely got a shot to go ahead and make a run into this pace.
I agree with that. So as long as the race sets up well for him, I really do think it's gonna end up working out for him. You also include Baracho underneath. Jamie Ness dealing with all of that inside of pressure, but ran against the strong Witty and Wonder Where Craig is. You also include the number 4 Where Paradise Lay for William Downing gets Javian Toledo.
Yeah, Where Paradise Lay better had leave too much work to do. This horse couldn't have a long way to go midway around the turn. But Baracha, this guy likes to fight. He does not, he's a reclaim, held pretty well in against Wonder What Craig is. I think the road's going to go through him. He's the horse to beat past the 16th pole.
And before we wrap things up here, we're going to take a very, very quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
Pop, pop, it's showtime. Showtime. Guess who's back again? Oh, don't believe me, just watch. Hey, 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 oh! Guess who make me feel alive? I've been locked out of heaven. I'ma leave the door open. That's right. We out here tripping in finesse. 'Cause you're amazing. Just the way you are.
And they're off.
It's going to be an exciting finish for Thursday's card here in this last race. This maiden claiming 45, going 5.5 on the turf. I think our picks look somewhat similar almost, but I think it's going to be an interesting scramble in this last little bit. So let's dig in to the number 5 at Take Charge 2.
Okay.
We also have a video on Take Charge 2. If we could take a look at that, that would be great. Back from March 26th when we last saw this one.
This is just brutal for owner and trainer alike. When you get a horse to run this big, 22-point improvement off the break in the buyer from a 61 to an 83, and you've got to hook a horse like St. Jude first time out. Take Charge 2 just ran huge. Got involved early. they carried the duel. St. Jude just a little too good, through the final furlong. But take nothing away. This effort was awesome from Take Charge, too. And I tell you, Callie, I went ahead and looked at the breeding. We'll take Charge on the top side. It's 10, 11% on the turf. But the second dam is what I went back to. She was 3 for 15, 6 for 15 in the money on the turf, made $158,000. We've got our turf debut today. This is a horse that tried to get on the turf on the go back. I don't think anybody's as fast as him. I think he's going to be fine. He's going to get the lead and just going to keep on going.
I agree. And Dam Sire Cal Nation is 1 for 1 on the turf as well in that first time on the turf effort. So I love that little stat that you had on the second dam. So just rewind 10 seconds and get your information. And I would replay that information. Great. And Kieran McGee, surprisingly, as of late, 2 for 8 first on the turf and a third to add to that. So a lot of things looking strong here for Take Charge too. And we'll probably do just that leading up into this. You also have Blaine Beebe underneath for TJ Aguirre, gets John Avello. Always close enough.
Yeah.
Took the hint, better at shorter distances, and I think that's the biggest advantage today for this one.
Came back off of a layoff, ran a big number behind That's Right, stakes type of horse, right? Last year. Little freshening. This is the legit, I think, the horse you can depend on to make that run into it. So there is a little hiccup with Take Charge, too, and that duel develops. This horse should be firing. The two-back race at Colonial, Maya Prince, I was going to see that one the other day, but it was taken off. That one, very competitive and gets some really crack sprinters, winners down at Gulfstream Park. So Blaine Beebe certainly keying up against the right kind. I should be ready off the shelf and come rolling through the stretch. A little price play to throw in. King Sabin, off a long time, reported first gelding. But you go back to the only turf race. The turf debut down at Colonial in August of 21. Determined Kingdom behind him. Synergy Star behind him. Determined Kingdom, stakes type horse. Synergy Star ran a credible number. So there is, there's some promise, I think, in King Sabin protected off the break.
Okay, there we go. That's interesting to me. Okay, that's enough of a bit of a sell. You also include Ryder T, first-time starter on the turf for Tim Keith, gets Forrest Boyce. McLean's Music, first-time starters in general, 16%.
Yeah, and you got the family. Rocky Policy, Be Determined. Well, we've seen him. Rocky Policy, shorter, Be Determined a little bit longer. The turf family is there. McLean's Music, they can run on anything. Thanks to Damon for getting my mic fixed. That was me. I think I just knocked it loose there a little bit, hence the couple commercials. But if anybody says that Damon Dilladovico can't shorten up from, a mile to 5.5, they're lying. He can. He can. He made that move. It was a blistering move, mid-turn to the wire. I love it.
Dilladovico's our clutch here in Maryland, and we are going to head on over to, as we just wrapped up on our 8 race card here on Thursday.
Lightning round?
We are going to head over to Lightning Round.
Let's go.
And Keith, let's go ahead into your value play. That's going to be race number 5 in the number 11. Take it away, Keith, and admit nothing. But why don't you admit a little bit more into that?
That was what we talked about. A little bit of a bad actor coming out of the paddock. Might have lost it a little bit. Broke slow, but willing to the wire. Watch it. Was caught in behind horses leaving the 8th pole. Finished up well. Galloped out well. Enough speed in here to set things up. I think you'll see an improved try. Maybe not win it. I would use this horse in your exactas and tries at hopefully a double-digit price.
Last week was the Ocala Breeders' Sale, 2-year-old sale, so just wanted to highlight that the half-sister to Aloha West tops the Maryland bred offerings at the 2023 OBS Spring 2-year-old sale. Dark Brayer bound filly by Divining Rod out of a Spitestown mare Island bound, sold for $350,000 to Bradley Thoroughbreds. She was consigned by Best of Luck Farm, LLC and Breeze an 1/8 of a mile in 9 seconds, 9 4/5. But bred by Katie Voss.
Yeah, Katie Voss.
Filly is a half sister to 4 winners, including, of course, Maryland bred Breeders' Cup Sprint Grade 1 champion Aloha West, but also Island Getaway, Noble Way, and Moquist. That was a highly touted Dale Capuano filly. So this filly previously sold for $60,000 to Mike Trombetta at last October's Fasig-Tipton Fall Mid-Atlantic yearling sale. So keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for potentially for this summer on that one. And of course, as we mentioned earlier in the show, Derby is this weekend, but you know that we all have our minds on Preakness coming up in 2 weeks. And in that future wager, if we could take a look at that board of all the contestants in the future wager, that would be great. But the pool is doing great right now, isn't it, Keith?
Oh, it's tremendous. Look at that, 209,000. I did not see this. I was down there talking to Tim Lucy and Mike Rogers about it. Just kind of shocking. And I got to give Mike he had a little more faith than I did in it. And obviously,
yeah, not shocking, grateful.
But really, really good. And Morning Line's kind of staying close. I had a couple horses a little higher, just kind of to induce a little bit of thoughts of value. That's what you have to do. I do think First Mission's going to come down lower than that. But what do you want to take? Do you want to take anything less than 6? I kind of wouldn't right now, but
Angel
we kind of know
he's really liking.
Yeah, why he's probably going to be here.
Exactly.
Mandarin Hero is a horse you may want to keep an eye out at a big price. And right now the field at 19-1, looking good to me. I will have a few dollars on number 29. But hey, we want to appreciate everybody for supporting this wager. We hope it continues to grow. If we get close to $500,000, that would be absolutely awesome. So thanks to everybody taking part in this future wager.
Oh, I think that can happen. Be sure to get in on that part. Go to pimlico.com for more information. And with that, we're going to go to Dave Rodman for some more information with changes and scratches. Thank you, everybody.
All right, good luck, everybody.